this like trickling and dripping of water as Foster took his rifle out of his pond. It was like covered in weeds and like sandy water, and it was all just like dripping out of his rifle. Hi, welcome back. Welcome to episode 2 of My Time in the Marines. My name's Mark Kemp. Spent 12 years in the Marines, or Royal Marines, from 2005 to 2017. So on my last episode, wasn't really much structure. It's just something I decided to do after a couple of whiskies. So I thought I'd carry it on. So I spoke about training, being in the foundation block, meeting my training team, all that type of stuff. So this week what I'm going to speak about is gym pass out, the battle swimming test, the test exercise called Baptist Run at week 15, week 20, which was another test. It was the CFT, Combat Fitness Test, I believe that stands for, in Bovington training area, and then week 21 or week 22, I can't remember which week it was, but it's a bottom field pass out. So, there's a lot of stuff happens in training, and it's been a long time. I can't remember what I did week by week, and I didn't really keep a diary. Didn't have time, and plus I wouldn't anyway. So, week 9 is what we call the gym pass out. So the gym pass out is you're doing your IMF, which I touched on last week. Where people are doing this with their arms. PT, I would say something like knees bracing sideways, arms up and raise. I think when you do all this stuff, look like you're dancing, like a choreographed session. So you do that. You do rope climbs. You make fast. Fast is where you hang on the rope. I don't know why I'm doing this, but yeah, you hang on the rope with like your feet and your arm around the rope. And what else would be in the gym pass out? I think you had to do a camp circuit. So a camp circuit being, I think it was like 2 laps of the road that goes around Lympstone. So if you look on Google Maps, you'll see there's like a road that goes in a ring shape around Lympstone. I'm sure it was like 2 laps of that. So the gym pass out is a pass or fail event as a troop. I think a lot of time in the Marines we got 3 attempts to do quite a lot of stuff. So I think as individuals in the gym pass out, you got 3 attempts. I think you had to do a rope climb, and I think you got 3 attempts to do that. But to be fair, if you're failing attempt 1, I can't see how you're gonna, and you fail attempt 2, I don't see how you're gonna be able to pass attempt 3 unless it's a technique thing. Not if it's a strength issue. If it's a technique issue and you manage to sort your technique out, yeah, you might be able to. But just so you know, the ropes are 30 foot high, so you would have to climb to the top. You sort of lock on with your knees, and you sort of you're actually pushing yourself up with your legs. You're not pulling yourself up with your arms. You'd have to get to the top, and then you'd hold on to the top. There's like a bit of I don't really know what it is, like a casing around the top of the rope. So you'd have to hold on to that, and then you wouldn't be allowed down unless you fell off it or the PTI told you to come down. And I've only ever heard of one person falling off, and that was on bottom field. That's a different story. And yeah, you could only come down when PTI told you to come down. So yeah, gym pass out would be like an IMF circuit where you're doing your raising your arms and stuff and all this stuff. Team games, which I remember the word, can't really remember what it was. I remember doing a lot of running around in team games, like in sections, I think, and you have to like run from the front to the back and keep doing this. It's been a long time. So yeah, but like we said, the gym pass out is a pass or fail thing as a troop. So if your troop fails it, you have to do it again in the evening. I don't know if you do it the same day or the next day. My troop didn't fail it, thankfully. I've heard of troops failing gym pass out though. I don't know what happens if you fail it again, and I don't know. Does the whole troop get back trooped if you fail it a third time? I don't know. Does anyone know if that's happened before? Probably not. Yeah, gym pass out, quite a big test. A lot of people get nervous about it. But next up, I actually can't remember if this is in week 9 again. My apologies. Let me have a quick Google. Not really, not anything that I don't think there's anything that says what week it's in. But again, so the battle swim test, you do it in combats. You have webbing. We say it weighs 21. Does it weigh 21 pounds? You have webbing, and you have a pretend like rubber rifle that's like the real weight of a rifle. But the thing is, you don't have boots on. And I always thought that was pretty pointless, because if you're going to end up in water, you're gonna have your rifle, you're gonna have your webbing and your combats on. You're definitely gonna have boots on. So yeah, but you don't wear boots. But it is, or you didn't. It is what it is. So you basically jump off a 3-meter diving board. You don't dive off it. You jump off it feet first. You pretty much sink to the bottom. It's a big pool as well. I can't remember how deep it is, but it is very deep. Bring yourself up to the top. Swim out halfway. You then swim across to the side. I can't remember how far, and then you swim back. But you don't just get straight out of the pool. You have to tread water for a certain amount of time, and then you have to take your kit off and pass it to somebody who's stood outside another recruit. Usually, you have to pass it to, or a PTI who stood at the side of the pool. And everything is when you take all that stuff off. So when you take your rifle off, you do go underwater, but you've got to try and sort of keep yourself from completely sinking. Because your buoyancy changes. And when you take your webbing off, again, same thing. You've got to hand it to somebody. So yeah, battle swim test. I know we're supposed to be amphibious troops, but to be honest, I feel like it is a bit of a waste of time doing that, because if you end up in water with a proper proper assault, like a proper assault order. So assault order being, fighting order. So fighting order being your webbing, a rifle, helmet, body armor, boots. To be honest, I think the chances of you actually being able to swim and keep all that kit on and swim around is probably going to be 0, basically. Then the next one up being assault order, which is your fighting order plus a day sight with it's going to be full of ammo and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll be honest, I do think that is a bit of a pointless test. So I suppose it may be good for confidence building, I suppose. And even then, you got to think, if you're on a landing craft, Rigid Raider. We had when I was in, and then it changed to the Orcs offshore raiding craft. You've got life jackets on. I've never heard of them failing. I suppose they could fail, but again, you can have so much equipment on you. I very much doubt you would be able to swim and keep yourself afloat. So that's my personal opinion. You might disagree, but it is what it is. We can always agree and disagree. So yeah, that's I'm pretty sure both of those things happen in week 9. Maybe if you're in training at the minute, or you did training not long ago, or you're on a training team, or whatever, maybe you'll correct me if I'm wrong. So the next thing that we'll speak about is week 15, which was test week. So basically the end of phase 1, and it was called Baptist Run. The Baptist Run was basically the exercise itself. I think was 24 hours, maybe just shy of that. But so I think before you go up to the training area, I'm pretty sure we did a 4-mile speed march. So speed march being £21 in your webbing plus your rifle, and you were supposed to have water on you as well. So you know the water's going to be a little bit extra, but it's not going to make much of a difference in my opinion. So £21 at your rifle plus a water bottle. 4 miles in 40 minutes. It sounds easy, but with some fairly big hills as well around the Commando Training Centre, and it also depends on your PTI. Our PTI, Corporal Ash, his name was Martin Ash, was pretty decent at running speed marches. He knew where to do the walking, where to do the running, and I've had some PTIs that were pretty horrendous. They just wanted it to be a sprint the whole way around, which isn't really the idea behind a speed march. To be honest with you, I guess it's just up to them, really. Yeah, it's 4 mile speed march in 40 minutes, which we did. Then when we got back to the car park, so if you go to Lympstone at the top field, we call it top field, there's a little car park there. It's like a cricket pavilion or something, I think there is. Something like that. Come into the car park there, and we got a bollocking off the troop commander, Captain Hilton, his name. We apparently did a pretty shit job of cleaning the accommodation. So he was like saying, "Oh, you wouldn't pass out from ITC Catterick, you dirty fucking crabby cunts," or something he was calling us. Which was great. It's just what we wanted to hear after finishing our 4 mile speed march, after we've been told, yeah, well done, really good effort. However, you're all dirty bastards, you haven't cleaned your accommodation properly. Which, I don't know, I mean, you're a recruit, you got a lot to think about. I don't know if we did a bad job, to be honest, but he might have just been saying it, I've no idea. So anyway, then it's off up to the training area for 24 hours, I believe, roundabout. And you get tested on things like camouflage concealment, section battle drills, target indication, fire control orders, and then a really big part of marine training, and probably any infantry training, well, British Army infantry training, I would imagine is the same, is navigation. Navigation by night, especially. So you do a night nav. Don't remember how long you had to do it, but I did pass it. I remember, but it sucked. It it really was. Anyone that's done it, you're going through gorse bushes and falling in like old bloody shell scrapes or something, and it's not nice, but it's not supposed to be nice at the end of the day. So yeah, you're out there for 24 hours with the training team. Doing all kinds of like sort of individual skills, they call it. So this is testing you to see if you're ready to go on to phase 2 of training. My apologies. Because if you can't manage the individual skills like navigation, camouflage concealment, target indication, fire control orders, all that stuff, you're not ready to move on to training. What was it? Oh yeah, one of the other things was resections. So resection it was a big thing to be tested on as well. I never had to do it in real life, fortunately. It's to be like, sorry again. So if you're lost, so the resection is that you find, say, ideally 3 points on a map, usually a church or something like that, so easily identifiable, and you take a back bearing, you draw it on the map, and basically where these points cross is going to be round about where you are, and then you can give a grid reference to the training team of where you are and all this type of stuff. So I think that's what we did as soon as we got there, actually. Yeah, so then the next thing is you do all that stuff in the day, and then at night time they take you to, well, I'm assuming we still do it, you have to do what's called wet and dry routine. So the troop boss, Captain Hill, was like, we're going to take you to the jacuzzi. So you're getting wet, so it's not going to be good. Basically went to this like pond, went in single file. We had to like dunk ourselves completely under the water with like helmets on, everything. But the only thing is, when you got a helmet on, it's actually quite hard to force yourself underwater because the air gets trapped in it. So yeah, so he wasn't happy that people still had like their helmets showing and all this type of stuff. So we dunking ourselves for like 3 or 4 times. I remember he was looking from the bank of this pond, He had a head torch on. I don't know I'm doing that. Had a head torch on, and he was looking up and down the line, just to make sure everybody was there, nobody was like drowning or whatever. And we had a guy in our troop, Tom, his name was. I still remember this like yesterday. So we had to be told to put our rifles above our heads and then dunk ourselves underwater. So obviously, SA-80s, when they get rusty, go really, really rusty. So everyone's there, rifles above their heads, dunk themselves underwater. Do it like 3 or 4 times. Captain Norton is looking up and down the line, and then I remember the torchlight coming past me again and like stopping. I was like, Foster, where's your rifle? And then we just heard this like trickling and dripping of water as Foster took his rifle out of this pond. It was like covered in weeds and like sandy water, and it was all just like dripping out of his rifle. I don't know what he was thinking. I think he just had enough. Like the look on his face was like he was a broken man. So anyway, we went back to the harbour area. Then we had to do sentry routine, which is generally an hour on, and it really just depends how many people are in your section by that point. You know, I'd think at least 2 hours off. Do a sentry routine through the night. So basically, wet and dry routine is that you get back to your harbour area, strip all your wet, cold kit off. Well, actually, you're supposed to do it under your poncho. So you get under your poncho if you've got a poncho. That is, it depends on the time of year, I guess. But this was winter, so we did have. Get under your poncho, strip all your wet kit off, get in your dry kit, get in your sleeping bag, put all your wet kit away. Maybe not necessarily in that order, but you know that's the gist of it. Then the next morning, or whenever you go on sentry or whatever, you gotta get out of your nice warm sleeping bag, get out of your nice dry clothes, and get in your, in this case, partially frozen, really cold and really wet clothes. Yeah, it's just, you know, it's one of them things about taking care of yourself in the field. If you don't do it, you might end up getting sort of hypothermia or something like that, you know, some cold weather type injury. So then the next morning you got to get back in your wet clothes, blah blah blah. You got your stuff packed away. You've got to have your breakfast, and then you've got to get all your stuff clean. So you got to make sure that there's no rust on your rifle, no carbon. You know, the train team are going to stick their fingers in the breech like that. Let's go. What's this? There we go. Yeah, we'll have like carbon on the finger if you don't clean it properly. Make sure there's no rust. You got to clean your magazines. You know, you got to make sure your knife, fork, spoon are all clean, mess tins clean, just everything clean, as clean as you can get it. And you got to think you're outside, so you know leaves might fall on your kit or something. Now, what I actually did is, I'll confess, is I put when we went into the jacuzzi, I already had my magazines pre-packed in resealable bags, and it worked. Because magazine springs were an absolute nightmare to clean when you're in a rush. Hey, it's only cheating if you get caught, which I didn't. So yeah, you do all that, and basically the training team probably know who's passed and failed by this point. But I think the inspection is a big pass or fail thing. You know, maybe you can have like 1 or 2 things wrong, but you know, if you're just a complete shower of shit, which a couple of guys were actually, you know, I think we had like 2 guys fail that week 15 test, got sent back in training like 4 weeks or something, which is, you know, I wouldn't wish it. Maybe 6 weeks, I don't know, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. So anyway, you do all that, and then you go back to camp. I can't remember if we went on foot or if we got vehicles, to be honest. It doesn't really matter. Went back to camp, and because we'd apparently not cleaned the accommodation well enough of the day before, so you're supposed to have a long weekend. That weekend, again, if you remember, I explained that you know, the long weekends when you're in training, it's not really a long weekend. It's actually a short weekend. You know, you disappear on a Friday afternoon and you're coming back Sunday afternoon. In fact, let's rewind. So yeah, so you go back to camp. So then you've done all your stuff in the field. When you go back to camp, and then you do NBC tests.
Gas!
or CBRN, whatever the hell it's called now. So that's like chemical warfare, nuclear warfare, biological, radiological. So chemical, biological, radiological. I don't know. Anyway, let's just call it nuclear war stuff. Yeah, let's just call it that for ease. So you do tests in that. So you got to like get your respirator on a certain amount of time. Get in full Romeo 4, which is like a chemical warfare suit, if you like. Respirator with a canister on. These like rubber road slapper boots, and then you have to do a canister change. And then after that, I think we went to do a signals test. So just, can you put a radio together? Can you turn it on, and can you speak on the radio? Can you turn it off and take it apart? I think was basically more or less what we did. So I think it was basically put radio together, turn it on, send a radio check, reply to the radio check or whatever, and then turn the radio off, take it apart. Easy peasy. I think there might have been like a first aid test as well. So then what happens is you basically probably get the training team will disperse and you go back to accommodation, and you got to get all your kit from the field clean, and you have an inspection the morning after. So we did ours in the drill shed, so we did the inspection on. I think you can either do it on the drill square or in the drill shed. I'm guessing it was probably raining or something, so we did it in the drill shed. Not that we're scared of rain. It's just that you can't really show if your kit's clean or not, I guess, if it's pissed wet through. So basically all lined up, and my section commander comes along. And so if you've been in the military and you've seen those Arctic sleeping bags that have got the pockets inside, no one ever explained to me that those pockets are supposed to be on the inside, and I always just wore them on the outside, and I don't know why, I just did. So what you think about is I had my sleeping bag inside out. So what you also are supposed to do is sleep with your boots on as well, in case you get moved quickly. You don't need to be putting up and putting your boots on. You just get out your sleeping bag, your boots are on. So the bottom of the sleeping bag inside is normally dirty. So one guy, our section Corporal Corcoran, came along from Dublin, pulled this bloke's sleeping bag inside out, and it was like full of leaves. So he failed that inspection. I can't remember who it was. I can't remember the section it was. So then when he came to me, my sleeping bag was already inside out, because I thought that was the right way around to have it. So I didn't know. No one told me. Whatever. So he thought I was then showing him that the inside of my sleeping bag was clean. So when the training team disappeared, I then pulled my sleeping bag in, like with the outside bit is now inside. So I pulled it outside out, and it was full of like leaves and soil and all that type of stuff. So I got away with that one again. It's only cheating if you get caught, and I didn't do it on purpose. I just didn't know that was my sleeping bag. I've been using it the wrong way around for 15 weeks at that point. So because we messed up not cleaning accommodation properly, apparently on the day that we left for Baptist Run, we didn't get a long weekend. We had like a whole weekend of room changes, and if you remember, so room changes mean you move room, you take everything, you take all your kit, take all your possessions, and you move into another room, to another locker. A training team member will come inspect it, and there's a certain layout that you have to have your locker, so everything needs to be the same. If somebody's done something wrong, and then you get another one, but you get it quicker. So we basically did room changes for like the whole of Saturday and Sunday, and it sucked really. I think it was about every 4 hours or something like that. So I think it'd be like, we did a room change, he'd come and inspect, and then 4 hours later, no, I think it was 6 hours later maybe, but there was a lot of them. Yeah, it really, really sucks. Remember in the first episode I said I think the worst thing that you can do to a recruit is take away their free time, and that was our supposed to be the free time that we supposedly earned taken away from us for the whole weekend, and it was rubbish. would not recommend. That's week 15, and then what happens after week 15 is some people will be back trooped, a bit backwards in training, but they're not ready to move on. But the majority of the troop will carry on through training. There's a little, there's like a little ceremony, I guess. I got given like a marksman badge. There's a couple other things that happened that, on the drill square. I don't remember what. I just remember getting a marksman badge. So I mean, I can't really, there's a couple of then week 16. I think you are back in the field again, and after that, then you move on to some more exercises. There was one called Dorset Leap, I think. Yeah, there's a couple of them, but you move on to the more tactical stuff. So you start moving on to like, I guess, fire team and section level tactics and all this type of stuff. It starts to get more interesting, basically. So week 20 is another test. It's the combat fitness test, and we did ours in Bovington training area. So I think we were the first recruit troop to do an exercise with the Viking. Is it armoured? Yeah, armoured personnel carrier. If you don't know what a Viking armoured personnel carrier is, it's like a articulated armoured personnel carrier. If I Google Viking APC, official name is a BVS 10, something like that. So yeah, we were the first recruit troop to do an exercise with these guys over in Bovington. So I very nearly didn't pass the CFT. The reason being is not because I wasn't fit enough or anything like that. So basically, there's a training exercise in week 18, I believe. And on the very last day of that exercise was doing a troop level attack on just on like an area of Woodbury Common, which is like the main training area in marine training. And I tripped over some wire that was in a bush, basically, and as I was running, and I went flying through the air. Throat's really playing up today. I'll have a drink. Right. Yeah. So I tripped over this wire as I was running. Imagine this is the floor, and this is awkward, so I'm back to front right. So I'm running, I tripped over, and the first point of contact to hit the floor was my right knee, like that, with all the weight on it. So imagine So my first point of contact to hit the floor was my right knee, and I'd like my CBA on my helmet, my webbing with ammunition in it, food, water, my rifle, a day sack on my back, like full of ammo, stuff like that. And it really fucked my knee up. And basically, when you get told if you get injured, don't say anything. I probably should have said something because it really, really did mess me up. My knee was like, basically you couldn't see like my kneecap or anything like that. It was really swollen. I didn't say anything. I was trying to walk back, well, not walk back, but like march back to Lympstone with my Bergen on, and I couldn't even hold up my own body weight without a Bergen. So it basically had to chuck me in the like the safety wagon with Corporal Gaz Monroe, his name. So I was like, and I couldn't even like bend my leg. It was just like stuck in position. That's how swollen it was. And he was like, "Oh, what's wrong with you, Kemp?" I said, "Oh, so I pulled my trouser leg up. I said, "Oh, my knee's swollen up, Corporal." He went, "Oh, what? Oh, well, as you're licking your wounds tonight, Kemp, just give a thought for my sister. Just been told she's got cancer." This is what I actually said, and didn't really know what to say. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that." He says, "I don't want your fucking sympathy, you cunt." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I just shut up after that. What can you say? Drove back to camp, got out the vehicle, and we went into like basically where the armoury is, and some of the stores is a little courtyard. Went down there, sat down trying to clean my rifle. Then the troop Sergeant Kelly, bloke from London, I believe he was from. Sounded like he was anyway. Come over and he was like, "Oh, what's wrong with you, Kemp? You got blisters or something?" I was like, "No, Sergeant, I've hurt my knee." He's like, "Let's have a look then." So I pulled my trouser leg up again. He's like, "Oh, you're fucked. You'll be going to Hunter Company or Hunter Troop, whatever it was at the time." So that's why so basically for like sort of the whole of week 19, I think was in camp, and I was like icing my knee. 3 times a day or something like that, going over to the med centre, putting ice on it in the morning, so around midday-ish, and then in the evening after we'd done everything. And it did kind of get better, but it was still a bit flaky. So I managed to do the CFT, And then I was doing alright on the exercise, and basically what happened is his captain. So we had a briefing for an attack we were going to do in the back of one of these Vikings. You know, being Marines, we're not used to operating with like armored vehicles. I guess we weren't at the time. So as we'd had the briefing, Captain Hill was getting out of our Viking. I was behind him, and he just, without looking, he just shut the door and he slammed it. Not slammed it maybe, but he shut it hard enough on my knee, and that just fucked my knee up. And after that was game over for me. I'd not been able to do any of the bottom field sessions, ready for bottom field pass out. Could barely, you know, after that again, my knee, I kind of felt like the tendon like rip apart or something. It was gross. It wasn't a nice feeling. So after that, yeah, that was pretty much game over. I couldn't do anything. I could barely stand up again. Back to square one. So at week 21 or 22, whatever it is, I ended up in Hunter Company, which is where you go if you're injured and you can't carry on with training. And actually, also, I think maybe you go there sometimes if you're not quite getting something. I remember coming across people who were there because we just mat read and stuff like that. Sounds ridiculous, but you know, everyone learns at a different pace, I guess, and they were all desperate. You know, didn't want to get rid of people quite so easily, I guess. So that was it. Got up to week like 21 or 22, and ended up in Hunter Company with the actual injury. The injuries I had from falling on that rock was I split my patellar tendon like long ways, pulled it slightly off the joint or something. I pushed my kneecap in between the leg bones or something. You know. So I did quite a number on it. It took quite a while to get over, as you'll find out. So hope you enjoyed that. Again, please leave a comment if this resonates anything with you, and I'll hopefully see you for the next one.